Bitcoin is a risk-on asset and a risk-off asset. That's crazy. We don't have too many of those. So pretty interesting. You can see during recession, so 2000 to 2002, velocity drops at an accelerated rate. You saw that again in 08, 09, and you really saw it during COVID. And what's happening now is we're just moving back to trend. And I think trend is at about 1.4, so we have a little bit more to go. But if we do enter a recession, and as you know, we think we've been in a rolling recession for roughly 2 years now, starting with back-to-back declines in real GDP in the first half of 2022. And of course, we've seen housing measures drop by up to 40%. Autos are in recessionary territory. We're seeing non-residential construction, especially in the office space area, in desperate straits, offset somewhat by IRA spending, the Inflation Reduction Act spending, which is focused more on infrastructure. But nonetheless, rolling recessions, and we think the next sector to pull back probably is the consumer. We're already hearing from retailers that the discounting is picking up in order to attract consumers into good deals. And we're hearing words like deflation used by a company like Walmart, very interestingly. So we'll get back to trend. And then, of course, the risk in a consumer downturn is that this velocity measure continues down, that it resumes its downtrend. And what would that mean? It would mean we'd have money negative on a year-over-year basis, and we'll have velocity starting to roll over. So that's how you get a really hard landing, unless the Fed pivots and money supply picks up dramatically. So in an election year, now the Fed is independent, but the Fed tends to stay out of politics and not make moves to favor one party or the other. But we do think it's going to be forced to ease and by economic statistics that will make it overwhelmingly clear. And that's a word that Larry Summers used today. He advised the Fed not to change policy, not to cut interest rates until there was overwhelming evidence that the economy is weakening and inflation was coming below the 2% territory. We think there will be overwhelming evidence, and that will happen next year.
Hey, money talkers, if you've been riding the Bitcoin roller coaster, you know things just got wild. Buckle up, hit that like button, and let's dive into why Bitcoin's doing the cha-cha below $42,000. It's a financial fiesta you don't want to miss. Last week, Bitcoin threw a crypto party, hitting a dazzling $44,000 high, making everyone scream to the moon. But hold on to your hats, because in less than 24 hours, we're witnessing a drop of nearly 6%. It's like going from a high-speed rally to a sudden nosedive. The market's puzzled, and we're all asking, why the Bitcoin nosedive? Over $4,000 million in Bitcoin got liquidated, and Ethereum joined the party with an $80 million liquidation spree. That's a whopping $300 million crypto clearance sale in just 24 hours. And guess what? Ethereum, BNB, Ripple, Solana, and Cardano are all feeling the crypto blues. The question echoes, why is the Bitcoin price on a roller coaster today? Why is Bitcoin hitting the brakes? Traders are side-eyeing the Fed, worried they won't cut interest rates in 2024. Speculations are swirling that the party of price hikes might be over. Last week's Bitcoin surge, it was fueled by dreams of a spot Bitcoin ETF approval in 2024 and whispers of the Fed lowering interest rates. But now fear not dancing with interest rates might burst the crypto bubble. Miners are doing the moonwalk, dumping Bitcoin like confetti. CryptoQuant spilled the beans on miners moving their stash to exchanges, hinting at a profit-taking strategy. It seems the miners are cashing in before the 2024 Bitcoin halving. Are they preparing for the ultimate crypto showdown? And there you have it, crypto trailblazers. Bitcoin's on a wild ride from euphoric highs to stomach-dropping lows. What are your thoughts on this crypto roller coaster? Let's continue our discussion with Cathie Wood.
So now let's go into, one other metric that I wanted to share. We did this last month as well, but I forgot to mention something. So this is the yield curve. It's the difference between the 10-year Treasury yield and the 2-year Treasury yield. And during recessions, and the recessions are in the shaded areas there, the yield curve either goes negative right before the recession or in the middle. You can see for the most part it is a leading indicator. In the 80s it was, late 80s as well, into the 1990 recession. It inverted again. Inverted means went back below zero before the 2000 tech and telecom bust. Same thing with 08, 09, and here we are again. You can see the yield curve is inverted by more than in any other recession except the 80s. Now, the other thing that I wanted to mention here is you see where the yield curve goes during a recession when the Fed is stimulating and fiscal policy is also stimulating. It usually goes to the 2 to 3% range. What does that mean? Usually means 10-year Treasury yields are 2 to 3 percentage points higher than the 2-year Treasury yield. And you'll notice that during COVID, that did not happen. Interesting. And it is surprising because the world threw all kinds of monetary and fiscal policy stimulus at the COVID problem. And one would have thought that we would at least get back to the 2 to 3 percentage point area. We did not. Now, why? If we are correct, the reason is because the bond market is sniffing out a deflationary world out there. And so yields, long-term yields, just didn't go as high as many people expected them to go, and relative to 2-year Treasury yields. And it's because they're looking at these undercurrents of deflation. Lower inflation or deflation would keep long-term Treasury yields down. And we were looking at this in the day, and I was saying, wow, I didn't appreciate that all that stimulus couldn't get this yield curve back into the usual 2 to 3% range. Now it is more inverted than the past 3 times. Have to go back to the early 80s. And that just tells us that monetary policy is a lot tighter than most people appreciate right now. And after the last set of numbers from October, lower inflation than expected, lower activity than expected, you can see expectations now for the Fed funds rate to come down.
The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission's former head of Internet Enforcement has warned that the newly unsealed Department of Justice, DOJ, filing should signal the end of Binance. Additionally, he noted that the SEC has heightened its legal action against the crypto exchange. To me, it's only a matter of time before the entire Binance plea deal collapses, resulting in additional charges for Binance, additional charges for CZ, and new charges against anyone else, he stressed. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more daily updates. Remember, knowledge is power, and we're here to empower you on your financial journey. Until next time, happy investing.